Hi, my name is Reagan, I'm 15 years old, and these are my two RX-7s.
They'll try and convince you that you need to journey to the center of the earth. They aren't aware yet.
Starting over here on my left is a 91 Mazda RX-7 convertible, stock 13B. Got this car about 2 years ago in Georgia. My dad bought that car for me when I was 13 years old because he wanted me to have a car that I was working on, that I would be, in love with by the time I started driving, so I would drive carefully and protect the car and myself, more importantly. I've always been pretty into cars, so I was really excited to have something like an RX-7, something really cool. Had this car now for 2 years, been driving it, all 2 of them, even though I haven't been in license up until about 11 months ago. Started driving it, fell in love with the rotary engine. Fantastic engine. This one in particular runs like a top. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that motor. The compression is almost perfect on it. Almost bone stock car. It's got a little bit of exhaust work done to it, cat delete, racing beat sway bars, just a few little light modifications I worked on it a little bit. A lot of little DIY stuff, but nothing huge. Excuse the noise, I live on an air park. Over here on my right, I've got a 1982 Mazda RX-7. We moved to Granbury, Texas from the Metroplex about 2 months ago. Found out there's a local track here in Crescent, Texas, about 15 miles away from here. I decided I wanted to start tracking cars because I've always been really into racing. So I talked to some people at the track to see what I would have to do to get this car track worthy, and found out it was about $2,000 more. Why spend $2,000 on a car that really won't be that great for track racing? It's a convertible, structural rigidity, stuff like that. Why spend all that money on that when I could just look into getting something else? So I started looking at other cars. And I still want an RX-7, still want a rotary, and I really fell in love with the engine. I can't see going back now. So I started looking at hardtops, and I found this 82 on eBay listed for $2,600. Me and my dad went to Plano, Texas, which was a one-owner car, which is pretty amazing up until us. It's just been with the same person. Old lady actually, so it was pretty well taken care of. Went on a test drive, and my dad was driving when he pulled out of a stoplight in first gear. He did a pretty hard acceleration, nothing crazy, but didn't dump the clutch or anything stupid, but pretty decent acceleration, and the engine blew up on the rear road. The owners were surprisingly embarrassed, not mad at us, but this still blows my mind. I had never planned on keeping the stock 12A that was in there in the first place, so I was still pretty interested in the car. And I called them back a couple days later, just basically telling them, look, we're still interested in the car. They told us that because it seemed like I knew what I was doing, which not really true, but kind of true. I know a little bit about these cars, certainly more than most people do. They just decided to give the car to me because they said they weren't strapped for cash. They were just trying to get it to someone who will take care of it well. So I got the car given to me, which is pretty amazing, and I've had it now for probably 3 months. None of that time I've actually driven it because it's been broken the entire time. The stock 12A I yanked out about a week ago now, actually. It's sitting on a pallet right next to a 13B MSP out of a 04 RX-8. I was talking to a shop over by the racetrack, actually right next to that racetrack along the track act called Motorsport Enterprises Racing. I was talking to a guy there who does rotaries, and he said that he wouldn't go with like a 13B turbo or something like that because parts are getting really hard to find for those cars, and I didn't want to deal with that either. So I talked to him and asked him what he thought I should do, and I was expecting the typical, just LS swap it. Well, no. He said, get an RX-8 engine. No one's done it yet that we know of, and it looks like it should be a pretty easy swap. They don't make gobs of torque, so there's not too much you have to do to the powertrain. So I thought, okay, well, I'll look into that. The guy I was talking to, funnily enough, his car got hail damage about a week later. He had an 04 RX-8. And the car was essentially totaled, all but totaled by the insurance because the hail damage was so bad. So he decided just to part it out. Ended up getting the engine out of that car, which is a freshly rebuilt street-ported engine done by a professional mechanic, which is always good. It's about 250-ish flywheel horsepower with the porting that he did, maybe a little less, maybe a little more, who knows. I've got to do a lot of custom ECU wiring. I'm going to try and make it run on the stock ECU if I can, just to save a little bit of money, because I'm not planning on tuning the car up that much, so I don't need an aftermarket ECU. The car only weighs 2,400 pounds, so it should be pretty fast. Outside the engine, I just need to do a full once-over on that suspension. The shocks are blown on all four corners, totally gone. It rides like a tank, so it needs to have some kind of lowering springs put in or coilovers. Upgraded sway bars. I need to do a pan-hard bar conversion on that rear axle so it doesn't axle wrap and kill me. I've got a wing on it already, and I'm going to do some bolt-on fender flares, which I normally hate, but I'm on kind of a budget, so sometimes you just gotta live with it, but I'll make them as nice as I can make them. New meats, new tires.
They'll try and